well, we've got Stacey Abrams. Did you notice it? First, real quick, look here at this face. Everybody remember that face? Oh, it's Stacey Abrams, the Abrams tank. Welcome to Doug in Exile. This is where the happy patriots are, and we're in contrast with the Biden campaign, as everyone's asking Democrats like Stacey Abrams, what the heck are you going to do about your state? What are you going to do? And I love her answers because their answers are essentially, we're not changing our plans. We have no plan. We're floundering. We don't know what to do about Joe losing this election. As we've said before, we're pretty sure that the Democrats are not going to let Joe be the candidate if they just know he's going to crash. They're just not going to stand there and not do anything about it. That's not the nature of their party. Their party is, if anything, to break every rule, change every rule to try and reverse engineer a win. And so they can either change the ballot system or try and get the vote out. And once they figure out that Joe is too heavy of a lift, they have to get another candidate in there. But let's watch this together. You tell me when you notice that look of Stacey Abrams.
Now, your organization, your strategy has led Georgia to have 2 Democrat senators. The polls are now showing that Trump is leading in Georgia and could potentially win.
Okay, so first I want to say that she gives Stacey Abrams the credit for having 2 Democrat senators. That was nothing to do with her. If anything, it had to do with Trump blowing those 2 senator seats. But now they're saying, oh, and even though that was your credit, now Trump is pulling way ahead of Biden. That's once again the news. I wanted to give you guys more peace that Georgia, I believe it's like 10 points, at least 10 points ahead of Biden now, as in Biden doesn't have a chance right now. That doesn't mean we rest. You work as hard as if your life depends on it, because frankly, your country's life does depend on it. We are not messing around. We're not slowing down. But Biden is behind by 10 points. We want him behind by at least 20 points to make it rig proof.
So what are you going to do to help stop that?
I've been very proud to be a part of a network of organizations across the state for the last decade plus.
Okay, what are you going to do about that? She talks about these organizations she's belonged to for the last decade. That is, in other words, she's going to do nothing, because she's been part of those organizations for the last decade, and yet they failed because Biden is down by 10 points. Did you hear that? Pretty soon, keep watching her face, because there's something unique about what's going on here that's different than other years.
It's been building political power amongst people who too often feel that they're not included in the conversation. That's made our state competitive. And when you're a competitive state, that means that at any given moment, someone on the other side might be up, someone on your side might be down. But our job is to always remember that it's about what the people need and making certain they connect that desire to the right to vote.
Well, what's strange is the people, first of all, no one doesn't have a right to vote in your state. Okay. For the whole state, you're fine. Nowhere. And that's a challenge to her. You're a liar if you say there's people who don't have the right to vote, don't know that they have the right to vote. I think she's always implied that these are Blacks or African Americans who are saying, I don't know if I have a right to vote. No, Stacey, that is literally a lie. No one's that ignorant. No one is that much of a victim, and no one is that unsure. Everyone, the good news that you will not share. She keeps trying to put them back like this is like 100 years ago in Georgia. It only goes to show, like, she thinks this is where the fight is, to come back up and regurgitate that, to go, guys, some of us don't know that we have the right to vote. Okay, Stacey, crazy.
And that they have access to the right to vote. So the work that we're doing is to continue to protect access to voting, to continue to lift up the success of Joe Biden. What President Biden has delivered to the state and to the people of this country is very manifest here in Georgia.
I don't know how a Georgian who didn't know where to vote could have access to drinking water, potable water. That is, they'd be dead in 4 days. Everyone knows, I mean, you go to a church, you can go to a local church and say, where do I vote? And they will take you to a voting booth, or they'll point you where. Okay. So the idea that you don't have access to any voting anywhere in a state like Georgia, where Fulton County is so corrupt, call the Democrat Party, man. They'll not only drive you to a ballot box, They'll give you 18 ballots to fill out.
And to make certain that people believe that November is a call to action, but also a call to the progress that we need to continue across our state.
Do you think the Biden campaign has done enough to help voter turnout here in Georgia?
The Biden campaign has done about all they can to bring out the vote. This is their version of get out the vote. Biden, I want to congratulate you. You're doing a great job of getting out the vote for Donald Trump. So we want to thank Biden and have him keep doing that. Get out the Republican vote by destroying jobs, by opening up the border, by being a shambling mass that can barely stand on your own. We thank Biden for his hard work on getting out the vote for Trump. Thank you.
The Biden campaign is growing and building.
Growing like a tumor or a goiter.
We have to remember we haven't even nominated our presidential candidates yet.
Oh, shot across the bow. Did you hear that? We haven't even nominated our candidate yet. We don't even know that it's Joe Biden. Hey, it could be, we might bring someone else in there. Anything could happen. Boy, that's a loaded bye-bye to Biden question.
And so I'm very pleased with the progress we're seeing, with the attention that we're seeing here in Georgia. President Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris have both been here several times. And because of their visits, we know that Georgia is on their mind.
Georgia on the rise, because Biden and Kamala Harris have showed up in Georgia, even though they did not know they were in Georgia, even though Georgians were not excited to see them. They're doing a killer job. Biden, 10 points down. I just want to continue to reinforce that. Keep going down this path, Georgia. Do nothing about Biden being 10 points down. Good one, Stacey Abrams. Let's keep going.
We have seen this Biden-Trump face-off back in 2020. What do you think you're going to tell voters who maybe feel fatigue when looking at this upcoming election and seeing this happen again?
We know that the candidates who are standing for the respective parties are avatars. They're leaders, but they're avatars. They reflect the values that we hold.
Okay, here goes. Remember, if voters aren't, she says, voters seem to have fatigue. Now, what are you going to do to build them up and get them out there? So first she says, these candidates are avatars. Okay.
President Biden, we have someone who believes in all people, someone who's been willing to invest in the future of this country, someone who's been willing to defend the rights and the responsibilities that women in particular need.
Okay, so we're going to go with women's rights. Biden is down 10 points. She's like, look, he's really failing. He's really down there. What are you going to do? Okay, we're going to roll this one out. Are you ready? Biden likes all people and is for women's rights. All right, that'll be good. That's a good strategy. That's going to be hilarious to watch, because it's the same thing the Democrats have been saying and lying about, that they would help women. By the way, if you really want to help women, how about cut the taxes on their tips? Trump has said he will remove taxes on your tips, waitresses, people who are hostesses. That's how you help women, by the way, all women, especially poor women, especially minority women. And meanwhile, the Democrat Party's plan is to excuse someone's student loan who's getting their master's degree, some rich white kid. How's that working out?
And his opponent, we see someone who during his term in office championed xenophobia, misogyny, and hatred.
Oh, okay. Oh, they're going to run that out. That's how we're going to turn this thing around. Thank you, Stacey Abrams. We're going to turn it around by saying Trump is for xenophobia and hatred. I never heard you try that before.
And promises to restore the same to the White House. And so we have to remember that no matter how tired we are, this is not just about what has been past, it's about what our future looks like.
Yeah, the future is bright with Trump. And so far, what Biden has done to the country has turned us into road warrior. He's brought Furiosa, Mad Max onto us. So the future doesn't look bright with him, it looks brighter with Trump. But now I just want to show you the very end of this clip. Watch her face. There's real despair. She really deep down inside is done. And I've never seen her make this face. Watch, it's on the thumbnail.
And I look forward to championing not only President Biden, but also what he promises for another administration. 4 more years of progress, 4 more years of moving our nation forward.
4 more years of moving our nation forward with that face. She doesn't believe it. She's not happy. She's given up. And that should make you very happy. That makes us have a good time right here in Exile, right, guys? Pop the cork, throw a party, work all the harder to get Trump elected. We're not resting, but we are partying all the way to November 5th and Trump's win at the election booth. I'm Doug in Exile.